everyone, welcome back to our channel. We're coming back to you again with the segment highlighting different practice areas, and today we have another guest. Capri is here.
Hi everyone.
And this one's gonna be interesting because I actually don't know what you do, so I'm gonna be learning as y'all will be learning. Capri works for a prominent media company, but she does transactional law, so it's a little bit different, and it'll be a little bit interesting to find a little bit more about what you do. So I guess we could, in terms of timeline, start with what you do now, and we can walk it all the way back to law school if that works for you.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
So right now I'm commercial counsel at a media and entertainment company, and I do a lot of intellectual property work and also just like general transactional work. So when you're in-house, you kind of have to know everything that comes up, kind of. I mean, you work with outside counsel, but for the most part, you got to figure it out.
So you're the expert in your company.
Kind of, and you become an expert because unlike being at a law firm, like you get to know your business. And the way it works at my company is every lawyer is assigned like their own business units. So you just get to know them. Like I work with the entertainment people and the licensing people and all that stuff. So you get to know the business. The problems are the same over and over again, kind of. And you just become an expert for the business you work for.
Interesting. So I actually have never talked to someone who's done IP work. What does that like look like for you?
So for me in the like media space, it's a magazine company. Like they publish magazines, right? So when you have artists appearing on the cover, there's like photo shoots. Who's gonna own the rights to the pictures? How can we use them? All of those things. Or like if we're working, for example, with Hulu to publish a documentary, it's like ownership, all of that stuff. Licensing out different things for people to do, for them to be able to say they're affiliated with the company, people gotta pay.
I was talking to my friend a couple days ago about film and television, and he does talent side work. So it sounds like when he broke down the production to the talent side, you're on the production side a little bit.
Yeah, on the other side. So if the talent wants to appear in the magazine, or if we have like a live event or something, or things of that nature, yes, I'm negotiating against probably your friend. Yeah.
Heard you. You went in or not? Okay, so I know other people, at least I'm wondering, I know other people are probably also wondering, how did you get into it? Like, what is it? Was it like you were just grinding out internship after internship, you found someone, you networked, if you feel comfortable sharing?
Yeah. I had a very different experience to get to where I'm at now. Very non-traditional, honestly, and I started off at the district attorney's office. I was actually a prosecutor in the Bronx. And in law school, people kind of tell you you have to check all of these boxes if you want to do certain stuff. So a lot of people told me that I was committing career suicide by going to the DA's office.
Really? Why was that?
Because people try to put you in a box when you're a lawyer. So it's like, are you going to be a litigator? Are you going to be public interest? Are you going to be corporate? And they try to put you in that box pretty fast.
That's interesting, because if you would have told me you was in the DA's office, I know nothing about what you do now, my assumption would definitely be like, okay, she wants to be a prosecutor, she wants to be a DA, ADA, or something like that.
Yeah, I did not want to be a career prosecutor. I wanted to go back to the Bronx and dedicate at least the beginning of my career to public interest.
Okay.
When I could take the hit financially, honestly. Because I can't take it now. But yeah, so people would be like, okay, this is what you want to do. You want to be in-house. You want to work for these types of companies. You're committing career suicide. Don't do it, because you're going to be put in a public interest box. Which is weird, because you're like 25 when you graduate law school. How can you know what you want to do for the next 30 years?
Yeah, you don't. From the DA's office, how did you...
So I always knew what I wanted to do in the end. So even when I was at the DA's office, I would look at job descriptions for the roles that I wanted in the future and make sure that I was getting skills that could be transferable to whatever I wanted to do. So I know that when you're a criminal attorney, a lot of times people say you can't write. So I work with appeals a lot, so I could have substantive writing skills from being at the DA's office. And I think that as a prosecutor, a lot of the skills I got are transferable, like being able to talk to people and break down complicated things and make it easy, and just having to have some type of personality, because you know lawyers don't always have that.
70% of the time they don't, but...
So it helps, and it helps in a business sense too, because you're working with clients, but you got to explain stuff to them, and nobody wants to be bored to death.
Got you. That's exciting. Did you like working there? Even though I know it wasn't the end goal.
I think the experience was transformative for my career, especially as a young attorney. I think being at the DA's office is really cool because you start with a class, y'all are all the same age, and you're all just trying to figure stuff out. The caseload is a lot, especially at the office that I was at. And you're given a lot of responsibility very early on when you don't really know what you're doing. So it's kind of like trial by fire. But the skills that I got from that position, I am so thankful for them.
But you've seen them work out now.
I think so, yeah. It's very helpful. It's so transferable, but I think people try to make it seem like you can only use it in that space.
It's interesting though, because I don't think I've ever heard of anyone, and like I know I definitely wasn't thinking about it, frame their career so intentionally. Where it's like, I know where I want to be, I'm actually putting these kind of deals, I want to get on this, I want to do that. We just like end up where we end up when you go into the law. Because the same kind of thing, a lot of people don't want to stay there, but they're not as intentional about, okay, let me learn this, let me learn that.
So I had a clinic my last year of law school, and in this clinic, everybody in the clinic was going to a big law firm. And I was the only person like, yeah, I'm going to the DA's office.
Do you remember the name of it?
It was a Southern District of New York meditation practicum. So it was like we did like employment law stuff in the Southern District of New York.
Okay.
And I remember my professor kind of pulling me to the side and being like, don't get stuck in that box. Like, if you're going, don't stay long, or you're going to be the public interest attorney forever, which there's nothing wrong with that. But that just wasn't my ultimate goal. So this goes back to me saying that I looked at job descriptions and was like, I need to get some type of experience to bring me to where I need to be. So I needed contract experience. Because just having a litigation background at the DA's office is like, it was hard to get out and get that first job where somebody would give me a chance. Now, luckily, I did a lot of internships in law school that were like corporate-y. Like I was at Viacom for a little bit. I had a fellowship at Johnson & Johnson. So that helped me for my next role, which was for a charter school system, actually. I was one of 2 attorneys, and they have schools throughout the country. And that's where I got to work on contracts and investigations and a lot of the skills that I needed to get to where I am today. I was about 2 years, and then I went to another media company, which is where I got really like solidified all the skills that I needed for this job. So by the time I got to the company that I'm at now, when I looked at the job description, I was like, oh, I actually can do all of this. I've done it. Like, it was the first time that I felt like I wasn't shooting, like overshooting by applying to a job.
You have like such different experiences, but it's all shaping exactly where you want it to end up. I feel like if someone was to ask you where you want to be in 5 years, you were actually one of the few people who got it right. Because I feel like, where you want to be in 5 years, I don't know. I'm just seeing, I'm just figuring it out.
I think I had to be intentional because I didn't want to get stuck in the litigation or like a public interest box. So I had to be very intentional about looking at job descriptions and being like, all right, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to be involved with. Like, so it wasn't even so much networking for me, honestly, though that's worked great for people. It was more about being intentional.
Before going back to law school, I guess we could talk about like, what does your day-to-day at your media company look like for you?
So day-to-day, I work from home. So I wake up, I walk my dog, all that stuff. Yeah.
Post-COVID, this is the dream.
Post-COVID, not good, because that could change.
Post-COVID.
So I wake up, I walk my dog, I try to like meditate, and then I write like an affirmation down on my desk before I start my day. I try to start earlier than 9 o'clock, so like around 7, because it's like a peaceful time where nobody's emailing me, which I need. So I'll just work on stuff from like 7 to 9 o'clock the emails start. And then it'll just be like different issues. Like sometimes someone will send me an email and be like, these people are saying they appeared in our magazine, or they're using our logo, they haven't paid to use it, they don't have a license. So we have to send them a cease and desist and go after them on that end. A lot of different contracts will come up. There's also like a lot of privacy law issues that come up because we have a website and people can subscribe and all of that stuff.
And is this all, I assume, intra-company, right? So like people that you, okay.
Yeah, everything is in the company. So like somebody will be like, can you look at this contract? Or we want to terminate, or some legal issue will come up. So it's kind of like a day-to-day thing. But it's every type of transactional thing you can think of. So whether it's a contract, whether somebody's just emailing you a question, we had this photographer shoot pictures for us. Are we able to license those pictures, or do we have to pay him a fee to do it? That's something that just came up the other day. Employment law stuff comes up. It's just day to day. You really don't know what somebody's going to ask you.
Got you. And you mentioned before that sometimes you're licensing people in other departments. Are you the only legal team because your company's so big, or are there other legal teams? So is it legit like I have to know everything for each different department and from a legal perspective, or?
So the legal team is actually very small. It's 7 of us altogether, including me, 7 attorneys. So it's pretty small. You don't have to know everything because you have other attorneys that you can like bounce ideas off of or check in with and use outside counsel if you need to. But I have attorneys that I report to who are so smart that have been doing this for years. So it's like I run my thoughts by them. Something that I learned very early on is when you're going to ask people for help, come with something. Say, I looked into this and this is what I'm thinking. Don't just come and be like, hey, how do you, like, I don't know. And I think that comes with experience. And I think that's why it's harder to get in-house with no experience, because you got to be able to hit the ground running.
So do you feel like they still train a little bit? Because I know some people say, well, you know, they don't want to train. That's what it is at the end of the day. That's why they need people that are experienced. Or do you think it's like you had the training and now it's just like you have to learn how to do it the way of your company?
No, I'm learning all the time. Like now I'm doing a lot of work on advertisements and stuff. And there's just a lot of FTC regulations. I have to look at the ads and be like, hey, you got to change your language there because we can't do this or we can't say that or we're going to be under investigation. And I'm still learning. That's something that I never worked on before. I'm always learning, but it's helpful that I had like a solid background.
Yeah, it sounds rewarding.
I think so.
So you said that your team is only 7 people. One, that's crazy. Congratulations again on getting that job, because I could imagine they don't open up with a team that small.
Yeah.
How does that feel? Like being in such a small, especially coming from the DA's office, and then now, you know, it's like such a small team and such a big company.
So it was nerve-wracking at first, and I think some of that was like impostor syndrome stuff. Like I'm here. It's like this feeling like you defrauded your way into the position, even though you earned it. Like you're qualified for it, and that's why they picked you. So that is intimidating, and it didn't help being virtual at first, dealing with that. But everyone was so nice and welcoming and just so smart. We have a really good team, and I'm very lucky for that.
Just giving the team is like family. You know how they be saying that?
Okay.
We're family.
No, that's a red flag. That is a red flag.
I agree. I'm just kidding.
If they say that in the interview, like run away.
First of all, go home. So I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, I think in this area, just generally media entertainment or whatever, you gotta be kind of fun. Like you like the same stuff, or like it's almost like you're a fan of the stuff that you do. So it's fun.
And since your company, they don't know what it is, but I know, since your company is so lit, do you get to go to pool events?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm actually, it's kind of twofold. It's like you get to go to the cool events, but you also got to do all the legal work for them.
Okay.
So I'm working on this event that is going to be taking place in June. It's really exciting. And I'm working on the contracts, like the vendor agreements, the people who are going to appear. Like when you go to an event and there's like photo booths and activities and stuff, there are contracts for all of that stuff. The venue agreement. That's a really cool event that I'm going to that I'm very excited about. They just had something in Africa. I wasn't able to go to that. Then you get invited to other stuff and you meet other people in the industry and you go to stuff.
No, yeah, it sounds so exciting.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, it sounds like it's a lot of work, but it's rewarding in the end. Even especially, I can't imagine like working on this huge event, and then I'm there and I'm like, oh yeah, I see, I worked out it.
It is. It's good when you see it come together. It's like wow, because it's very abstract when you're working on it from the legal side. But when you see how talented these people are and how much work they put into everything, it's very impressive.
Yeah. And I guess before you started working for the company, obviously you knew what you wanted to do. Did you imagine that it was like there would be so many little contracts as you were working, or was it just like, dang, like, cause like for example, when I was at the Bank of New York Mellon, I had no idea that there would be like an IP department and then there would be like a copyright department. I thought it was just like, it's a bank. They're just doing bank things.
I was surprised at all the different stuff that they're into, because for me it's like, oh, it's a magazine, like, but it's so much more than that. So I was surprised about that. And then there's a lot of legal issues that come up for all of those other things.
That was very helpful in learning what you did.
Yeah.
So then let's take a step back. What law school did you go to? Why did you decide to go to that law school? Some of the, you mentioned the internships. You can talk a little bit more about them if you'd like, or even some of the other things like why did you do the clinic? Why did you do all these things?
I went to Seton Hall Law School, which is in New Jersey. Originally, I thought I wanted to be a doctor in undergrad. So I took a lot of like advanced science courses and all that stuff. I found out about health law, and Seton Hall has one of like the top health law programs in the country. So I went there for health law. I did concentrate in that. I really enjoyed an internship experience I had at Johnson & Johnson, and I was like, okay, I would love to go in-house and be at a pharma company. But it just, my life just didn't work out that way.
How was Seton Hall as a whole? Good decision?
Well, I think God makes no mistakes.
Okay.
So I think for whatever reason I was there. It was because God wanted me to be there without getting super religious, obviously. It was difficult, but I think it's difficult in this profession generally, being of color and then also being a woman. So you deal with like a lot of stuff just for being in part of those two classes. I grew up in the Bronx. I went to college, a very diverse college, and when I got to law school, it was just not diverse, and I just had to figure out how to operate.
Where'd you go for college?
St. John's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did a program there, like a law program.
Yeah.
I was already.
No, you didn't. Ron
Brown
or something. Yeah.
So that was at St. John's. So it was interesting. And I was like, I've been going for law school.
Yeah.
Then I went there. One, how did you overcome imposter syndrome when you were talking about in the workplace, if you have, right? Like, it could be something you work on every day. And then also, like, in connection with the culture shock of going to, like, this really white law school post a diverse, like, undergrad. How did you feel about that?
It was definitely shocking. It was very hard to unshock myself. It took probably the whole time that I was there. It was just, I don't know. I had never experienced anything like that. And then also I was first generation law student, and I felt like a lot of people had, like, my dad's a judge and my dad's a partner here and this and that. And I didn't have that.
Were you also first gen undergrad?
Not first gen undergrad, but first gen law school for sure. So that was an adjustment. And just law school was just stressful generally. So to have all of that was just a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like the way people talk about imposter syndrome as well, which I think is frustrating, is they make it seem like it's something in your head, right? Like, it's like, this is how you feel, this is how you get over it. It's real that people have these microaggressions and are saying all these things and those things. So it's like, this is something that you're actually going through every day. And it's like, I mean, I feel like, at least for me, I feel like the best you can do is learn how to cope with it. But it's not something that, like, you could just get rid of because it's not really only internal.
Yeah, it's not. So the social aspect was definitely difficult for me, but honestly, it prepared me for the field because that's just what it is,
Literally.
the field we're in. But I had amazing professors, and I had friends from law school that are like lifelong friends with me.
Oh, that's lit. I have learned a lot about you and about your job, which is interesting. And as always, if you guys have questions for Capri, put them in the comments. I'll send them to her. She don't read the comments.
Okay.
And then, and if you like the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And watch out for the next part of the series.
Yeah.
Well, actually, if you have one piece of advice for a law student, what would you give?
Don't let anybody put you in a box ever. If there's something that you want to do, you can do it, but you have to believe that you can do it more than what anybody else is telling you.
Okay, and there it is. See y'all later.
Bye, guys.